like this visual of sitting under a basketball goal.
I do kind of.
I want to
listen.
dunk.
Sit down.
Almost. Listen. You almost stand up and give it.
All right, folks, we'll go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody for coming out here to our second town hall, second of a few, I would imagine. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. Appreciate everybody coming out. Thanks to Bonita Springs for letting us use the rec center. We got some audio things. Thanks to districts. We're going to give each speaker, I think, 2 minutes. And if we have extra time, we'll go further than that. Pass it over.
Hey, good afternoon. Jonathan Martin, State Senator, District 33. This is about the southernmost part of my district. Thanks for all coming out tonight. I'm looking forward to having some good dialogue and learning more about what your thoughts are on this important issue as far as whether or not you want to be heard on the form of our county government and the structure. I grew up here in Southwest Florida. I love what makes Lee County special. I've been able to travel the state a lot the last couple of years in office and seen a lot of what's going on throughout the state. I think Southwest Florida is still the best place to be. Lee County, I think, is the core of what makes Southwest Florida special. You can see that with the political results and elections. You can see that with the way we do business, our growth, our recovery, the way we start together after Hurricane Ian. And I'm proud to work with so many great people here from the county who represent the state, and also have many of you as my constituents. So I look forward to hearing from you. And if you have any questions later on after the meeting, I'll stick around. Feel free to reach out to my office, my staff, Olivia Myers in the green and Nick Rock over on the side. They're both here to help me as well with any questions that you might have.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Lombardo, District 79, which is over in Cape Coral. I wanted to again thank the Rec Center and everybody for hosting today. I apologize for not being at the last one. I've been away with the military for the last couple of months, so just got back last week. I wanted to actually see if I could take a couple extra minutes just to kind of, because I know last time folks got to talk a little bit about how this came about and what their thoughts were. And so this has been, since I've got elected, kind of in the making, something that I thought about. And part of the reason is I was getting a lot of communities, Pine Island, Malachey, Lehigh, coming to me, and I know they go to the other reps, and they always talk about services. We need more of this, we need more of that, we need more, this, and we want to incorporate. I heard that from every area. So I asked them, like, why do you want to incorporate? So you can tax the hell out of everybody who in the community. Like, what's the deal? What is the reason? We want to be able to control our sidewalks. We want to be able to control our signs. We want to be able to control certain things. And so I said, well, with Lamson, and I know that when Matt Caldwell was a state rep, he helped create Lamson, and that was part of the reason for it, right? So they can control some of those localized things. When it's not happening, we looked at it and said, well, we don't want to create more cities. We don't want to create more government. So what's the next best thing? Give you representation, right? Lee County, when Lee County was 200,000, 300,000 people, 5 at large, we can absolutely see it. Absolutely. But once you start getting 800,000 people, we're going to be at 1 million in no time, right? I think single member districts where people can vote and have their own county commissioner serves it best. And we're all single member. I'm a single member. Miami-Dade doesn't vote for me. Jonathan Martin's a single member in the Senate. Tampa, nowhere else votes for him, right? So when we go to Tallahassee, I know what's in the best interest of my community, And I'm going to go up there and fight for it. And I'm going to work with my other state representatives, just like we're doing right now. We're going to work together to come to a common solution so then we can all bring. So that's kind of why we're here today. So I did get to, I was in the middle of the desert, high desert. So there's mountains everywhere. So I was trying to listen in. They kind of tapped me in a little bit. I kept losing service, but I did get to hear some of the comments. The one thing that I would ask of all of you is if you could please, and again, you know, if we're all like, well, I know you don't have anybody on the ballot with you, but you know, if elected again and we get this on the ballot, or if the commission gets it on the ballot, right? That's the intent, for the people to decide if they want to have it or not. It's not us that's deciding, right? And so the idea is that if it's on the ballot, what does it look like, right? None of us are sold on any model. I know there was a model that was tossed out there. We just tossed the model out there. There's that 2 at large, 5 single member. There's 5 straight single member. Collier County has it. Texas has in their constitution that every single county has 4 single member, 1 at large chair, right? We're not inventing anything new. This is not a new concept, right? We're just trying to figure out how to do business better. Lee County is a multi-billion-dollar entity. And to have it just 5 commissioners, that are at large, I mean, they're stretched thin. Let them focus on an area. Let them focus on a district. Let them be subject matter experts in their community where they live. And that's what we're saying. So I would love to hear if you're for it or not for it. But if it were on the ballot, how would you want to see it? Is it 5 straight single member? Is it 1 and 5? Is it 2 and 5? We would love to hear that. How it ends up looking if it does go on the ballot. So thank you so much. It's really an honor to be here with you guys, and looking forward to hearing all you.
Thank you. Thank you. We are missing one, Representative Tiffany Esposito. She's ill, so she will not be here tonight, but she is watching on there. And just to recap what I said last time, we did some research. 1951, Lee County had single member districts. There was some corruption at the county level. There was only 1 drag line, 1 bulldozer. So the state went in, the 2 legislators went up to Tallahassee, tried to get rid of the corruption with allowing on a ballot, not a ballot initiative, they just wrote into law that Lee County would become a at-large district. So this is where we're at there. But we have 2 microphones on the side here. Go ahead and step up when your name is called, and we're asked for 2 minutes, okay? We're going to start off. Marcia Ellis. You got it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Marcia Ellis, for the record. So I am in support of a 5 straight single member district, because I think that gives the most representation, both demographically and geographically, in our community. Personally, if I had my way, I would reorganize along watershed lines. I think it's important because there's not only a business being done in Lee County, there's also responsibility and duty for the environment and for those who are being represented. One of my reasons why that I'm looking for single member is that accountability for the to the public, to the because the representatives represent our interests, and I want to see accountability for holding true to the responsibility and duty. Really concerning me is responsibility to protect us from pollution as we've been facing more and more flooding. Kind of circling back to that watershed idea, it's not just a matter of losing possessions, it's the legacy of what's washing into our wells, what's washing into our ecosystem, and I want to see that in the future that we're really being cognizant of that and not just exclusively focusing on the economics. We have to also look at the carrying capacity of our community because we are a environment dependent economy. Our water quality brings the tourist here. When we can't eat the fish no more because they're loaded up with dioxin and mercury and PFAS, that will be a very sad message to have to share at the airport, the hotels, wherever. And I think we're there. It's time for a different approach. I want to see a more responsive and accountable structure. Thank you.
Good job. Billy Barnes.
I'm against this motion that you're trying to do with the single member district. Mr. G. Lombardo says he believes that everybody should have a vote. That's why one of the talking points that they should have this. Everybody does have a vote right now. We vote for county commissioners. So everyone has a vote. I am also, Mr. Patana, what you said about why this was dissolved in the first place, corruption. When you do a single district and you make it way easier for corruption to occur. The young lady who just spoke, she said accountability. You can't get any more accountability unless I, as a Lee County person, gets the vote for every county commissioner that's there. That's how you hold people accountable. If they don't do the right thing, you get rid of them. If I can't vote for that person or not vote for that person, I can't get rid of them. So it doesn't provide more accountability. It gives them less. Lastly, I own a lot of properties throughout Lee County. I own multiple companies in Lee County. Is it fair for me to have houses in a county or a district, a single member that I can't vote for because I live in Fort Myers, but I have houses in Cape Coral? And can I have my business in one place and I can't do or vote for the person who's running that? So I think when you guys are thinking about this redistricting, you really need to be concerned about all of us as a county. If something needs to be done, you hold people accountable. You vote them in, you vote them out. It doesn't, how can I hold them accountable? Because I can't vote for that person. That doesn't make sense to me. So if we talk about sense and common sense, it's very easy. If I need to vote in or vote out of any of you to make you to be reliable and make you to have accountability, I should have that vote, especially with all the taxes that I pay on all the properties I own with corporations and houses. I have that right. To take that right from me so you can go simple member district is not fair. It should be unconstitutional. That is my thought. So I hope that somebody else can share light. I'm open to suggestions.
Thank you, sir. We got a Katrina Solar. Solar, sorry. Oh, I don't remember.
Katrina Salakar, we are the Southwest Florida Business Alliance. There are 5 of us here today. I'm from the Executive Advisory Board, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself at the moment, and I am very much interested in seeing dialogue around changing our county governance structure, mostly because I believe 5 can't get it done. We have seen an accelerant occur in more than one case. Most recently, the biblical flood has accelerated us from what would be 1 million people in 50 years to 20 years or less before we're going to hit that. And I feel like right now, the 5 can't get enough information in to make proper decisions for the volume of work that's going on. We have staff advising. We have a structure where the lawyers pretty much are the ones that are being relied on. Those folks are being relied on very heavily, but we didn't elect staff and lawyers. And that really is what opens it up for undue influence and for lack of consideration. And then if you are experiencing, as Mike said, if you are experiencing lack of representation in an area, It's been historically proven, and I think Matt Caldwell might cover this, hopefully. It's been historically proven that can be very hard to actually vote out your representation because of things like name recognition countywide. And so that's why I'm for exploring a new governance structure, kind of like the majority of the state of Florida has, and then looking at increasing the actual commissioners to cover the responsibility that we actually have upon us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ray Blacksmith.
Good evening. I am adamantly against changing the way Lee County is governed right now. In fact, the first time I
Could you
heard
speak
about
up, Mr. Blacksmith? Sorry, we can't hear you.
I'm adamantly against you changing how Lee County is governed today. I first heard about this plan in November of 2023. And I think a lot of people, especially myself, sent you letters stating how disappointed I am in what's looking to be attempted to do. You're trying to fix something that's not broke. The county runs fine. I don't want a city manager overseeing the county where 5 qualified commissioners run it now. I want to be able to vote for all 5 of them. They handle it fine. Nothing is broke. Let it go.
Thank you. Matt Caldwell.
Well, at the risk of confirming some of the strongest accusations, I have been involved in this issue for the better part of 20 years and already have my name used twice here tonight. So let me try to hit at least the biggest points in my mind. The first one is this. The voters are going to have their say about this one way or the other. If it is not through an amendment to our county charter, then we're going to see the trend continue in incorporation, exactly as Representative Gianlombardo said. This referendum has already been expressed in the marketplace of ideas, as we've seen Cape Coral, Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, Estero, and Bonita all incorporate over the last 50 years in order to gain control of their decisions for their community. And you will see that same trend, I believe, happen in Lehigh and North Fort Myers if this issue isn't put to the voters and goes forward. The other point I just want to make, we're going to, I'm sure, hear all different sides of this. There's a lot to it that you can unpack. But here's the basic point. The county commission is the legislative branch of our county government. Our founding fathers believed in the idea of citizen legislators. That means that they need to be enmeshed in their community with a responsibility to represent 850,000 people. A county commissioner at a countywide level now represents more people than our congressperson does. It should not be harder to run for the county legislator than it is to run for the federal legislature. At the end of the day, the voters will pass this if they're given the opportunity to. Everyone in this room knows that that's the case. And it's just time to go ahead and put it on the ballot, let the voters have their say, and whichever way that goes, we're going to live by it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ray Sandelli, Commissioner Sandelli.
I'm glad somebody moved this microphone down just a little bit for me, stuff like this. First of all, thank you, all of you, regardless of what your opinion is of coming tonight. It expresses your interest in what we're doing collectively in Lee County. When I first was appointed, the first thing I had done was I had a map up of all of Lee County. Every time I sit in my chair, I want to remember that those are all my constituents, and I want to be that reminder every day. And I feel confident that the structure that we have in place actually works. I've been honored to be a part of that. I'm also a little bit bewildered that some of our state legislatures have taken a different opinion. I would have felt a little bit better if all of you were agreed in where we were going. And I'll also say that nobody ever took the time to call me and ask me about what I thought about this as a sitting county commissioner. Okay, so I was a little bewildered by that. This endeavor has been brought up numerous times, and we had the pardon? Oh, it was brought up a number of times, and I went to the Chamber Charter Review Committee, and they didn't even vote on it. We didn't even want to discuss this, so it was put to bed, and that was that. But here we are again. I think that the current system now works, and I will say this honestly: if I thought it was broken, I think the guys that I sit with, the team that I sit with, would be the first to try to suggest a better solution. That's what we do. We have a responsibility to the county, to each of you out there, and if it was broken, we do that. I don't think it's broken. So I believe in the leadership, and I think when we start bifurcating the leadership, I'm not even sure why the state legislature brought this up. I mean, it's a county issue from my perspective. So I guess what I'm saying is, if it was broken, we'd take an opportunity to try to fix it. I think that we ought to stay in our own lanes. I think when we bifurcate leadership within the state, it's only going to hurt us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Susan Hager.
Wow, Commissioner, that's a tough act to follow. My name is Susan Hager. I'm on the Board of Directors of the Bonita Bay Community Association, and I chair its Government Affairs Committee. And I really am wowed by the large turnout tonight. I think it's great. Because we support citizen involvement and we do favor single member districts. But more importantly, we think it's a fundamental issue of representation. And that means the voters should decide what the structure of our county commission is going to be. And that's the position we've taken. A couple of reasons. One, it would certainly reduce the cost of campaigning. Someone who's running county-wide versus someone who's running in a single member district. That's going to increase the pool of local talent that can afford to run for a county commission seat, and we think that's a strength for that argument. Two, it's going to help bring greater attention to local issues in each district. Commissioner Sandelli has been a terrific representative for us. He has come out to meet with us. He has discussed issues. But when you have someone who lives in the community, they are going to be out there every day walking the streets and finding out what's on people's minds. Second, lastly, it's going to increase citizen engagement. Again, by having someone local who's representing you, you get to meet with them often, as we do with our gentlemen who are up at the top of the panel here. Yes, it's a county issue. Somebody said it's a county issue. The county should be solving it, not our state legislators. I guess I would say no. It's an issue for the voters. They should be the ones who get to decide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hager. Darth Felder? Yeah, sorry. Darth.
I'm going to speak a little bit on the process of how this could come up. Charter review is one of the ways that this could come forward. The Charter Review Committee and that whole process is essentially a joke. They're appointed by the county commissioners. The county commissioners appoint people that have the same views as them, and then nothing gets moved forward that doesn't follow that same view. Another method is a petition. You need 50%, I think, of the voters to move a petition forward. I don't know how many registered voters there are in Lee County, but it's a lot. And to get 50% of that, either for or against or whatever, to get that many people to sign a petition would be nearly impossible. To the gentleman saying that the state is changing our government and the way that's being run, you guys aren't changing anything. You're at least giving the people an opportunity for us to be able to change something. So I'm definitely in favor of you moving this forward, bringing it up to let the people decide. The system might work currently, but it can work better. Would you take your car to a car wash and have it come out 70% clean, but it could be 30% cleaner? That's how our government works currently. It could be better. I am the president of the group Unite Lehigh, working for a feasibility study for incorporating Lehigh Acres. We need actual representation of a single commissioner representing our community to get things in our community taken care of. I shouldn't have to call on Cecil to get things done in Lehigh. I'm gracious that Cecil will respond to us currently, but it shouldn't need to be that way. Our one commissioner should be able to focus on our district and get things done. To the whole of, if he's not doing his job, vote him out. District 5, say, for instance, can't vote out our current commissioner because the 3-4 other districts will outvote us and he'll remain in place. So that's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Butch Swank.
I'll be brief. I'll start off with I'm 100% in favor of single member districts. From a practical perspective, I would probably suggest just doing 5. I think some people that I've talked to would have an issue with additional. I think it's preposterous because it's a very small number percentage-wise for the Lee County budget. But adding 2 extra commissioners and the staff and all that stuff was not as palatable to people. So if you already have something in place, it's less work to do. I think Commissioner Sanelli, you and Pendergrass, I think you both actually do a very good job, and I thank you. But I think realistically, you guys live in a bubble. People on the east side of I-75 feel deeply unrepresented. And to Derek's point, we also feel like it's futile voting currently. So I think if you are opposed to single-member districts, if you look at this logically, you're not confident in your ability to get reelected. If you were confident that you were representing your people and not yourself, you would be confident you would get reelected. So again, if we're being logical, if you're against it, you're not confident you get reelected. So let the people choose. That's my point.
Thank you. Wayne Smith.
I'll try to, whoops. Ray, I gotta put it up for me. 2 points. Number one, for the last 15 years, in many rows of working with the county commission and their staff, it was amazing that every time you would go to see all 5 commissioners, and no matter with Estero, Bonita, South Lee, they all were interested in what the project was, how it was going to be presented, and what was going to be the outcome. I think if you would read the Naples Daily News every day and look at what goes on in Collier County that has a 5-person single district, many times, if you would speak to those commissioners down there, if they have a project, it becomes a parochial project, and they may lose out. And particularly in a recent issue, one of the commissioners was so upset, he was trying to get a moratorium on a traffic issue. And he tried and tried many times to bring that through, but the rest of them said, no, it's in your district, we're not interested in it. So if you take that comparison, look at that, look at the wonderful way Lee County has worked for the last 15 years. That's why let's keep it. As the gentleman said, it's not broken. So let's keep it straight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Crystal Norton.
Good evening. Thank you guys for coming and taking your time to talk to all of us, to really hear what the constituents here who live here and work here and own businesses, what our opinions are. I know there's many that are in this room that are actually staff or lobbyists. I know not many are actually citizens that actually live in Lehigh or Cape Coral. I'm one of them. I'm also a business owner. I was born and raised here. The system is not broken. Can it be improved? Yes. When you go to single member districts, you take away representation from the demographics that are least represented. Look at the demographics of Lehigh, and if you put someone in there, they're going to set it and forget it. If it doesn't serve them, it doesn't matter what their constituents are going to say. So when you have 5 or more that can actually represent, maybe we add more. But doing a single member does a disservice to our people. It doesn't work. And if you really look at the true facts and not what everybody's pandering to you, you'll see that. It's not broken. Maybe we're growing. We need to add more. So let's do that and maybe have a dialogue about that. But taking away our right to vote out, especially when we're multiple business owners like the other gentleman over there. I have properties all over the city, all over the county. And if I can't vote when it's being affected my business and my home, then that's a problem. So I would like to have a say in my entire county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Norton. Dominic Camreta.
Hello, good evening. I am against changing Lee County. It's been so successful. If you look around, maybe it's not perfect. Maybe everyone's home isn't perfect and there's things in their area they'd like to improve, but they have 5 hardworking individuals that they can call on. One of the 5 is going to respond. You see them, they're going to have an opportunity to be here tonight, and maybe not all 5 are able to be here, but at least, a few of them are able to come. So it's really important to have some voice, and you lose your opportunity to incorporate. If you said the risk is everybody's going to incorporate, well, they have that right now. If they want to go incorporate, that's up to them. But ultimately, to have one person running your district and that's your sole voice permanently, that's a mistake. Wouldn't you rather have 5 people in charge of and have an opportunity to talk to one of them and get someone's ear that cares about what they need to do? I would echo what Ray Blacksmith said, and what several others have said, that if it's not broke, don't fix it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nick, am I right up here?
Thank you. Nick Camerata. I've been a resident here for over 20 years. I've seen hurricanes. I've seen a lot of growth in the area. My kids live here. My wife lives here. My family lives here. We're all in business here. And I will tell you, what we have here with the county commission, and the staff, they work tirelessly to get things done, and they do get things done on so many different levels. And it's not always what you want as an applicant or somebody that's a part of it, but it's also a part of what is best for the county and who is best to contact. And having a single purpose membership or a single person membership that is accountable for it, I think just does a disservice for Lee County altogether. So I'm against it. I think that everything is working and functioning as best as it should and better than it should, because we have certain individuals that are working very hard to make sure that that happens every day. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kevin Besser. And after that, can we have Randall Engel over here?
Good evening. Thank you guys for having this forum for us to get our points across. I wasn't going to speak tonight, and I wasn't going to speak personally and as my employer. I'm the Director of Public Policy for the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association. We are the largest trade association in Southwest Florida, the largest trade association in Lee County. Our members have taken a position they are against single member districts. But I was going to, really why I'm here is because in the last 2 meetings, I've, like Mr. Caldwell, I guess as a member of the Charter Review Board, I've been called out 4 or 5 times about how useless I am, how corrupt I am, and how much of an idiot I am. I think I heard that one last meeting as well. I find it very interesting that all of these people can say these things, but when we had 18 public meetings, not one person came out and supported single member districts. Not one. Not one phone call, not one comment, nothing. So now we are here today. I'm getting told I'm corrupt. Don't know what I'm talking about. But we have people here who didn't come out to our meetings, 18 public meetings, 5 of them across different parts of the county. So there are some other members of the Charter Review Board who are here tonight who would also didn't hear any of these comments. So I just say I'm against single member districts. My members are against single member districts. We appreciate you guys coming out here and give us the forum to talk about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Ronald Ing.
Good evening. My name is Ronald Inge. As the representative mentioned, about 200,000 people in the county. I came here when there were 200,000 people in the county and been here for 40 some years. My background is road building. Our company built most of the roads that you see throughout this area. We built portions of I-75, and a lot of the developments that you guys live in, we did the work to do all the infrastructure there. So I know a little bit about the growth of Lee County. I have to say I'm adamantly opposed to changing the structure of county government for a variety of reasons at a variety of levels. Folks, if you think that a single member district has your commissioner who's going to pay attention to your issues and devote their time solely to that, you're delusional. They still have to vote on all the other issues around the county. It still requires voting by the commission on every issue, not just their issues in their district. It's a mistake to think that. That's number one. Number two, I serve on the Charter Review Commission as well. I have heard that we were useless, we were handpicked, we were told what to do and what to say. When I got picked to be on the Charter Review Commission, not one commissioner contacted me other than the commissioner that appointed me asked me if I would serve and do a good job, period. That's all I was told. Not one commissioner called me to say, here's what you've got to do on these issues, not once. We had all the meetings that Kevin talked about. We had a presentation by Matt Caldwell, the only one who spoke in favor of single member districts. At subsequent meetings, even at that meeting, we debated it, decided that that was not something that we needed to do, and not one member of the 15 brought forward a motion to move that forward to the ballot. Not one, because it doesn't make sense. It becomes parochial. I don't know about you guys, but I worked in single member districts in other counties, and the first thing you hear when you go to a commissioner that's not in the district of where your project is what does Sue or Joe think about it? Because I'm not going to cross Sue or Joe because I need Sue or Joe to support me over here. I've seen that happen. I've been the victim of that. So I'm completely opposed to this. So I'd like you to consider that and take it forward. I'm somewhat bothered that the legislative delegation feels that they have to tell us how to run Lee County government.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Cecil Pendergrass.
Thank you for doing this. This is great to have communication like this. But I do have to say, one thing I noticed when I got here tonight was when looking around the room, it's mostly elected officials here. We got the Lee Health Board here, members here. We got their staff here. We got some lobbyists here. We got some PR people. But from a county of, I'm saying close to 900,000 people, I know it's like 835. There's a reason why, like Rhonda said and Kevin said, we had 18 meetings. So I just want to say I love the communication, but the whole process, there's a process in place for this already, guys. And I just wish we could follow the process. We went through this 8 years ago or 6 years ago with the Charter Review Commission. Like Ron said, we had 18 meetings. Nobody brought this forward. I know a few of you said this has come forward on the campaign trail and everything, but other than being talked to when I was running before, and I had this discussion with Matt 2014, so 10 years ago, there was really nobody else in the community pushing for this, and I understand that. But there's a process in place. So you could do the Charter Review Commission. 3 commissioners could put this on the ballot tomorrow if they wanted to. So remember that. So the commissioners can do that currently. You don't have to take it off your plate then, and take it out of the halls of Tallahassee. At the end of the day, I mean, I don't think leadership really supports having this issue be talked about in the halls of Tallahassee. I know 2008, which Governor Chris' administration didn't want to do it. 2011 and 10, Governor Scott then, which is now Senator Scott, did not want to touch it, along with Pam Bondi and the current cabinet. And currently now, most of the cabinet now and the governor does not support a Democratic issue. This is the number one topic across the state of Florida for Democratic issues trying to get this done. That's why in Chula County, it was done a couple years ago. I think the state did it, and now they're looking at going back to county-wide. It just doesn't work. And let's focus on things that everybody in this room here, we all got to work together. The cities are here, City, Bonita Springs, Estero. We deserve to go work with them. We deserve to work. We need to work together to get these projects done. I think it's really important. I brought forward a copy tonight. Last year, The county commission majority voted against this action, and I will give a copy of the resolution to you for that. And I'm here after the meeting if anybody wants to talk to me. We always try to communicate, but I think it's really important that you listen to the community. If you look around, the community is not really here. Out of 850,000 people, we've all advertised this, we all put it out there, and look at the turnout. It's mostly 4 or 5 people that's upset about a zoning issue. No matter if it's single member district or it's countywide, zoning is zoning. There's ex parte rules in place, so that's not going to change anything. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Brandon Miller.
This is a copy of the resolution.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, the three of you, for doing this. I have 2 points and then one that's kind of been tossed around. Strictly from an electoral perspective, the first is the cost of an election. Unless you're prepared to write yourself close to a 6-figure check, you have to be a prolific fundraiser. The cost of a true competitive race district countywide could exceed easily $500,000. The second is door knocking. If I were advising candidates, I would tell them to focus on door knocking in Cape Coral, Lehigh, and San Carlos Park. Those are the largest communities with little to no gated communities. The density of those areas gives candidates a more manageable path to victory. This robs Bonita, Estero, Fort Myers Beach of vetting those candidates, hoping to represent those folks. You can lose your own city, but win otherwise. And then the third point, to the folks who have said that they have homes in multiple areas and they want to be able to have a say, more incorporation will take place if this does not move forward, which will then establish millage rates, which will raise your property taxes. And I assume you have tenants in those properties. And if you are, I assume, a capitalist thinking individual, you are then going to raise the rent on those tenants. And that is not a fun situation all around. So I think those are my 3 points. And again, thank you guys for coming out and doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Justin Theobald.
Hey everyone, I'm Justin Thibault. I'm born and raised in Fort Myers. I'm a business owner in Lee County. And I think single member districts are a great idea if you want your vote and your power of your vote limited severely. Right now, I have the power to elect 5 different people for whatever I'm doing in the county. I don't live and work and play all within the same district. It's throughout the county and surrounding area. I need my vote to count, and I need to be able to have some type of influence and some type of voice for my entire area, where I'm raising my kids, where I want to spend the rest of my life. And I think there's a lot of unintended consequences that occur from single member districts. Someone pointed it out earlier. Your voice is heard in a single member district if your candidate is elected. If your candidate is not elected, you have 0 voice and 0 influence to make any decisions that affect the county. So I'm vehemently opposed to single member districts. I don't think we need to talk about strong county mayor. Why have a commission if we have a strong county mayor? So that's my position. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Lewis.
Terry Lewis, City of Fort Myers. Also, my dad was a county commissioner for 12 years, so I lived through a lot of that. I am 100% in support of single member districts. If I was in charge, queen for the day, I would say 5. I like, representation. It drives accountability and responsibility, just like your roles. I just don't understand moving here why we have them at large. And I do like the ability to lower the cost of running for the positions. It would encourage diversity in the candidates. Second thing, there's been some discussion about one at-large member as a mayor. I like that idea. There's also been some discussion of the county manager being elected. I do not like that idea. I would rather have the county manager focusing on the job. It's a very engineering focused type role. And everybody knows most engineers aren't good politicians. So.
Thank you. Joseph Camarada. This will be fun.
Good evening. I've been going before the county commission for more than 20 years. I dealt with Larry Kiker, I dealt with Frank Mann, I dealt with John Manning, I dealt with them all. And certainly they change over the years. Some leave and new ones get elected. when you're doing business in the county, the machine is the staff. And the staff does a lot of work. So you're not getting just 5 representing Lee County. You're getting 5 plus the staff. And the staff gets overlooked, but your Department of Transportation, your environmental science group, they're all a big part of what goes on behind the scenes at Lee County. And the commissioners rely on this staff to fill them with the information that's needed if they decide to make a vote. When you work with 5 at large, you're not dealing with one specific need in one specific district. Or if you have one commissioner in a district, he ultimately could be against something and everybody else can be in favor of it. So what has he done? He's going to vote no, you get 4 in favor. God knows I've had that happen to me many times with Frank Mann. But my point is, 5 at large represent the entire county. Everybody votes for those 5. Behind those 5 is a staff that has numerous jobs to do there and to be able to follow through with the work that needs to be done. I'm completely against the single district idea. It's not in our current Constitution of the United States, believe it or not. It's something that has been done and added by the Congress. Technically, a congressman can run for all the state and be at large, but they decided to go with these districts. I think the county is working fine, and I believe in what's going on today. I believe in your county commission you have today and going forward, and I think it'd be a huge mistake to try to change something that's currently working and being very efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight Espin?
Good evening, and thank you for coming out here. And I am not a businessman. I'm just a retiree. I've lived in Southwest Florida for 30 years. And I came here to try to learn why people think at large is better. And I've heard some good answers to that, but I tend to think since most of our representation is by district, why not put it to a vote of the people and let them decide? And this is kind of a question that probably isn't appropriate, but it does seem like the state legislature is starting to put a lot of rules on local control, and I don't know if you guys want to try to answer why that's happening.
Thank you. Kevin Carnes.
Thank you, Rep. Bonitaa, and the rest of our delegation for coming out and listening tonight. This is my second time coming to these workshops, and I want to thank everybody for coming out for this as well. This is local government in action, and we should really be proud of ourselves for having this conversation out in the open. I did some research because we've heard a lot of pros and cons about this decision, and I've been on the fence about whether it's a good decision or a bad decision, quite frankly. I live in Cape Coral. I'm a member of District 4. When I was doing some research, I had the honor of serving this community as our clerk of court and comptroller. I serve all 890 square miles, all 823,000 residents of this county. But the one thing I can't get behind or can't get past in regards to single member district is what happens if your person, your entire district, your commissioner loses that district. And so basically the other districts are carrying the voice of the district where the voice matters the most. But we've had a lot of great dialogue in this room about good things and bad things. But there are 471,000 registered voters in this county. And we have a lot of great, passionate professionals thinking about these issues and talking about it. And we make a lot of important decisions on the ballot box almost every single time we go. This coming November, we're going to make really important decisions on medical marijuana and abortion and the composition of our school boards. And I can't help but think why a single member district's any different. There's 471,000 people that should weigh in on this question. And whether I think it's a good idea, whether you think it's a good idea, or whether the people in this room think it's a good idea, I think I lean towards just giving the people the opportunity to have moments like this to talk about it and make that decision when they go to the ballot box in August or November. Thank you for doing this. I hope you do this for other types of bills that you pass going forward, because I like this representative democracy where we can come in, give you our thoughts and control of comments, and at the end of the day, we make the decision. Not the county commissioners, not the delegation, the people that live, work, and play here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Christopher Proya. Sorry.
Close enough, everybody gets that wrong. I'm Christopher Proya, and I'm actually running against Mr. Martin over here for state senator. I'm born and raised in Lee County, lived here my entire life. I'm a working class guy fighting for working class people. I'm here to tell you guys today that there are rampant problems that are not being addressed in the underserved areas of our communities. I've heard a lot, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's not true. I don't know if people go outside their normal everyday routine, but if you get to the underserved areas of the communities, it's definitely broke. With a broken system and as rapidly as we are growing in this area, it must be fixed now. The crony capitalism pushing through every large development with no regard for the harm that it does to our local environment is not going to be sustainable for the long term. Our current system clearly favors corporations over the interests of working class people. Most of you that do work know that nothing's affordable these days. Housing is impossibly expensive. I'm currently making more money than I've ever made in my entire life. And I still need to penny pinch on groceries, and I still live in a shack. I've heard that the community isn't here, that they don't care. Well, it's impossible to raise a family these days. Nobody has the time. Nobody has the energy. Nobody has the mental capacity to come and show up to meetings like this that affect their future, basically. Not the working class people, anyway. So, as Mr. Martin knows, you know, I have half of Lee County to campaign on, and that's big enough as it is. I can't even imagine having the entire county to be my area right now. Allowing for single-member districts would allow for better access, personal access to our personal county commissioners that affect that area. And most counties of this size in this day and age across the country are single-member districts because that is what works. And we as a community need to elect leaders that are progressively focused on the working class people and not conservatively focused on corporations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody that we missed? Anybody we missed that wants to comment? All right, just fill out a comment card. Mr. Allers, you go ahead and speak and just fill out a comment card after. Mayor Allers.
Thank you. I really wasn't planning on speaking, but this is also the second one that I've attended. I was in Lehigh and now I'm at this one. And I think these forums are very, very important. I will say I have not taken a position one way or another on whether I'm for or against it because I like listening to what people have to say. I will say that I'm not for an elected county manager. I agree with the comment that was made earlier. Their job is to do their job. And if you have 5 people or 7 people that are their boss, their job is to do their job and focus on building the county or the city or whatever they're doing. A couple of comments I have about some of the things I've heard. We're fortunate we have 5 great commissioners right now that you can pick up the phone and call any one of them. They will answer your call. They will answer your emails. They will help you out in any way. Same thing in Tallahassee. We have a delegation. But when we go up and talk to you about appropriations, we talk to you, but we also talk to other people that have no representation. We don't have any representation from them, but they still have a vote in what you guys are trying to pass on our behalf. So whether they are at large or whether they are single member districts or not, I think if you're wanting to talk to them, it's more important about who the candidate is, in my opinion, than if they're single member district or not. Because if you're doing this for the right reason, you're going to listen to someone. And whether or not you're in Cape Coral, you're in Fort Myers Beach, or you're in Lehigh Acres, if you're trying to do the right thing for the county, it won't matter. It shouldn't matter whether you're a single member district or you're not. That's why I really haven't taken a position on it. I think that I agree with the point that if you're representing your area, yes, you may be able to focus in on the area. But again, if you're a good candidate, you're going to work in the other areas as well. So I think that when you have these, people may not be here, as I believe I think it was Commissioner Pendergrass said that there's not a lot of community members here. That's true. And I agree with the point that a lot of them are working. A lot of us still have to have jobs. Even though we're trying to represent our communities, you still got to work. You're still trying to build a business. You're still trying to do those things. So although they may not be here and they may not be speaking, they're watching.
And it's the silent ones that you got to watch out for. They're the ones that are going to talk to you when they see you on the street. They don't want to come up and stand in front of the microphone and give their opinion. So they're watching, and they're going to let you know. And I don't know. I don't want to keep going on and on, but I think that having these forums is very helpful for those that can't get here because they're working 2 or 3 jobs to try to support their family. But if you give them the voice, we'll see where it goes. So I still want to pay attention. I hope you have some more of these, and I like the idea if you can have more of these in the decisions that you make going forward for the, for our area. I think that would be great. But I can see a trend. I can really see that trend, as was mentioned also, about people wanting to incorporate. When I run into people out, whether we're having dinner or something out somewhere, they talk about, do you like being unincorporated? Do you like having to make your own decisions? And I think our community really does like that, because although we get great support from the county and their staff works very hard to help us, we still have decisions over things like our sidewalks. And I think that if people feel like they're being represented, whether it's single member or it's at large, if they feel they're represented, then nothing needs to change. But I'm hearing a lot of people not feeling represented. So keep up the good conversations and keep up having these, and I'll be at the next one too. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? Closing remarks? You want to do closing? Sure. I guess I'm going to say something, so go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I appreciated your thoughts, your unique perspectives. It's good to see some geographic diversity here in Bonita Springs, representing different parts of the county. Just so you know where my thought process is on this issue. Under no circumstance do I support, or do I think that that's ever been part of the discussion, where we're going to go to Tallahassee, vote on a law, and basically impose it on Lee County and tell Lee County, the county, how we're going to be picking elected officials. If anything happens, it would be to allow Lee County residents to decide how they choose to move forward. So nothing up here is anything that and anybody up here is not trying to force anything down the throats of Lee County residents. I heard a couple of times, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I used that one time when I was running for student government in college, and I said, well, it's broke, so vote for me. I don't want anybody to think that I think that our county commission isn't doing a phenomenal job, that I don't think our county leadership isn't doing a phenomenal job. I've known many of them for a very long time. I respect them tremendously, and they do a really good job. But something unique happened a few years ago because of the hard work of Cecil Pendergrass and Brian Hammond. Cecil was elected 12 years ago to the county commission, and he fought for term limits. Brian Hammond fought for term limits. They voted for term limits. We have term limits on our county commissioners now. So it's not broke yet. But what I'm cautious about is moving forward, we are going to have much less experience on the county commission than we currently do and that we've had in decades past, when the maximum amount of time that a county commissioner can serve is 12 years. I want to make sure that when they're starting off, they're not biting off more than they can chew. And look, if the voters decide one way or the other, if we decide on what the language is, if there's a vote on a local bill that then comes back to Lee County and the voters decide, I want to make sure they have the choice to decide, because of the changes, the bold, conservative, good, solid policy changes that our commissioners fought for and voted for years ago to instill those term limits. I want to make sure that we're protecting our future county commissioners with allowing them to come in and hit the ground running with a manageable district, a manageable district size that is larger than what Mr. Ing said that was the size of the entire county when he moved here. I think when I moved here about 30 years ago, the county was, I think we were just around 300,000. We're a big county now, and I want to make sure that our representation continues to be that Class A quality standard moving forward. And if the voters don't want it, they don't have to vote for it. If they do want it, they can vote for it. And that's, of course, if we decide on a model to send back on that ballot question. And I want to hear from you guys. Are you? Because I've heard bits and pieces just tonight about single member district, 5, that's great. What about the hybrid? Because we heard some issues about, not having the ability to vote for somebody who's going to influence decisions countywide. Well, that's the hybrid discussion that was had in years past. And we haven't been talking about that this year. But
like we want your feedback. That's exactly what I do. Because we want to take a look at this, take a look at the problem set, figure out what we need to do next, and then if we move forward, we have a model to put on the ballot, then we want to put a model on the ballot that people are like, I get like this could work. And sometimes when we make decisions that not broke, don't fix it. Wayne Gretzky said that some of the business folks should absolutely respect this, because if you're a business person, you're always looking at the future, right? For us, Wayne Gretzky said he was the best because the puck is going and not where it's at. So we know the puck is going to be at 1 million people, right? And at the end of the day, 5 commissioners at large, it's going to be very challenging for them to manage staff. And I know there's a lot of great staff here, but there are staff problems too. You need to be that guy, right? But there are staff problems at every government level. There are staff issues. Commissioners have staff issues. We have staff issues. There are staff issues all the time, right? And so I think it's important for us to take a look at this and ultimately give the people the opportunity to decide whether they, support it or not, right? So it's about where the puck is going. It's for us trying to make a decision for the future of Lee County before we do turn around. Right. So I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you so much for your input. And looking forward to maybe seeing you guys next time.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. Welcome to my home, Bonita Springs. I appreciate the residents, the builders, everybody that came out and spoke tonight, politicians. It's all good input. We're all residents of here. We're all voters. We'll have another one of these. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Oh, and I want to recognize, since we're talking about staff, all our staff people over here. Thank you very much for helping us out. Thank you guys.